Kenny, brother, thank you for being here, bro.
Thank you.
Let's go. Guys, just going to quickly do a small little intro. My name's Joel from Nomadic Closer, and I'm sat here with my main man, Kenny. Kenny was actually the first guy, even before we actually advertised Nomadic Closer House. He was like, Adam, I don't care, I'm in, I want to be a part of this, let's go. Fucking love that, bro. Love that.
Yeah.
So tell me, bro, like, you've been doing really, really well as a closer. You've been smashing the sales, but there was something missing in your life. You're making money, but you're living in the same kind of environment day in, day out. What made you kind of think nomadic? What made you think I'm going to get out of my environment and just start doing stuff you've never done before?
Yeah. I think for me, it was like I resonated with a lot of things that you guys were saying, like before it was even launched or published. Um, I felt like for me, it was cool to make money and it was cool to, make commissions and make a good income compared to like the people, my friends and the people around me. It was like, I was doing well, but it was like, I was just in my room all the time. I was just in my room all the time.
But
Just
what's wrong with that?
for me, I mean, I guess it depends on the person. Maybe some people they like it. There's nothing wrong with it. But for me, I felt like there's a lot more to life than just being in this box where I was eating in there, I was sleeping in there, I was
Like you was
working in
eating
there.
all the time.
Yeah, like I was like everything was in that room. Like everything was just done in that room, and it was just like inside a box. And I always heard a quote that I think it was Tony Robbins said, like we drive inside a box, we work inside a box, everything's like confined inside a box. So I'm like the world is a lot bigger, and there's so many experiences that I want to experience that I haven't done so. And I also felt like that would help me on sales calls too, is having these life experiences so that you have more charisma, more things that you can talk about. So I was like, I felt like that part was missing for me, and I'm like, yeah, that opportunity came about, and I'm like, I had to do it.
I love that. But I had this conversation with some of the other guys as well. A lot of people like to socialize online. A lot of people say, hey, I've got a load of friends online. I've got great communities. And there are great communities out there online. But why did you want to kind of break away from the online space and have real human interaction and experiences? Like,
Yeah.
why the contrast?
Well, that's the thing. It's different when you like meet people online. Like it's different versus meeting someone in person. Like you build way better connections. You're more connected with people. Online, it's like it's cool, but like in person, you get to do things together. You get to eat together. Like it's just way different. Like I can tell you from being in this house alone. Like I think like it was just a few days in. We're like giving each other hugs before we sleep, like actually connecting on like a very deep level. Like it's fucking insane. Things that's really difficult to do online.
Yeah. And then if you compare that to your circle of friends back home, I remember the first day we were here, we had the men's circle, right? The open circle where people were going through and talking about things they've kind of never spoken about before.
Yeah.
But why do you feel like you can't do that with your circle of friends back home?
That's actually a very good question. That's very interesting, and I think because a lot of people here, we're all on a very similar wavelength. We all want to get better in some form or another. We all do the same thing in sales. We've all been through the same struggles,
Yeah.
so we can connect with each other very, very well because we've all kind of been along the same path. And on top of that, it's also like we're all into the same. Like we were just talking about this the other night. Like we're all in some way into like some spiritual shit that like doesn't make sense to the average person. We're all into some woo woo stuff. So like we just connect with each other so deeply because we've been through the same path. We're like cut from the same cloth, and it's hard to connect with someone who hasn't experienced that before, who's like went down the traditional route of a 9 to 5 job. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just difficult and more hard to connect with someone who's not on the same path. But like for here,
When you say connect, what do you mean by that?
like it's something that you can feel. It's hard to articulate into words too. It's like you can just feel that you're really connected with this person. Like you've been through the same experiences, you've had the same struggles. Like you have a lot of experiences and things that resonate with each other because you've been through the same things. It's like so easy to connect with each other.
That's the thing. A lot of people are stuck in this whole bubble of, hey, listen, I've got friends online, I have connections online. But for those who haven't actually experienced something like this, what would you say to those people? Why should they try to make a change?
I guess it comes down to if they want to make a change, if they want to have those better connections with people, right? And if they do want to, then I highly do recommend encouraging and making that change, because the amount of friendships and like the amount of deep connections that you can build with people is way better than just doing it online.
Yeah.
Like, just no doubt about that. Like, online's cool, but in person, like, we got to go back to the basics. That's how we actually really connect, is freaking meeting people in person.
100%.
Just going back to the basics and disconnecting from online, but reconnecting back to yourself and also with people in person as well.
That's it. I mean, I'm sitting here. I've known you for the last 30 days, face to face. We've had great connections, good chats. And especially before coming here, you seem like a very, very confident person. But then confident online and then going into circles where it's all alien to you is a big challenge, right? It's
Yeah.
the unknown. You did something that was unbelievable. You stood in front of 50 people on stage and you started speaking. And the way you spoke, the way you came across, it seemed like you was a complete natural and you've been doing it forever. Were you nervous before you did it?
100%. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. Like, before I did the public speaking, I was thinking about it all day when the day came.
Really?
And like, I like when I was showering, I was thinking about it. When I was taking calls, it was on my mind. I was taking real estate in my mind.
Shit.
But I think I kind of learned how to embrace and deal with the nervousness and kind of like dive into it rather than trying to run away from it and just use it to my advantage. But yeah, absolutely, of course.
So you said you was thinking about it on sales calls, quite nervous. How did you transform those nerves into motivation, into excitement?
Yeah, kind of converting it into excitement. Like, at first, well, the first thing that I didn't want to do was to run away from it and tell myself, "Oh, I'm not nervous," when I was.
Right.
Then I'd be like lying to
Yeah,
myself,
yeah.
right? But just embracing those emotions, like, I'm nervous and that's okay. Like, I'm going to be using this energy, so when I get on stage, this is going to be my energy that I'm going to be conveying, so I can have like a more impactful message.
Yeah.
So,
Because you can either use the nerves to stop you doing what you want to do, or use those nerves as a motivator. So when you do get on stage, you change the energy into passion, and that passion you'll be able to share to the crowd. So all right, so you jumped on stage, there's 50 people staring at you. What was the first initial reaction?
at first, my first thought was like, "Oh shit, I'm actually doing this." Like, and you can kind of hear that in my voice too. Like, the first thing I said, I posted on my Instagram, I'm like, "Hey, how's everyone today?" And like, you can kind of feel like I was kind of like, "Oh shit, I'm actually doing this." But then like as it kept going, I was like, "Oh shit," it kind of felt natural
Yeah,
in a way.
yeah.
I was like, "Yeah,
I think anyone who hasn't been on stage and spoken in front of people and all those that say, I'm not going to do it, I'm never going to do it because I can't do it, bullshit. I think once you're on stage, once you get into that flow state, it's such an amazing feeling. You know,
Yeah.
people are looking at you, you're talking about things that you know, you're inspiring other people, and just being able to share and watch people's reactions, for me, it's so powerful. You know, like
100%.
the other day when we did the masterminds and I was talking about networking, I was in the same position. I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, there's a lot of people. Am I nervous? And I thought, there's nothing to be nervous about. I know what I'm talking about. I jumped on stage and no word of a lie, I thought I'd be extremely nervous. And I just found my flow state.
Yeah.
I was talking, I was enjoying it. I was just completely present. And I just want to do more of it. Is it something you want to do more?
100%."
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you want to share? What do you want to talk about?
Honestly, just anything that can inspire and impact people in some form of way. Like, I'm a strong believer of every time I learn something, I just want to give it back to the world. And
Which you're doing at the moment.
yeah, and it goes back to what we were talking about, the theme of like the house too. Like, the best student is always the teacher, right? Because it solidifies everything that you learned
Yeah.
into your mind if you're able to re-teach that to someone else.
Talk to everyone about the YouTube videos that you do. Because every time you have a realization or a lesson, straight away, bam, you're becoming the teacher. But
Yeah.
how did that come about?
So the reason why I got started with it was because I posted, how I actually started everything was because I posted one of my sales calls on my Facebook page. And then people were like, "Whoa, that was really valuable." I got some DMs and they're like, "Well, this is really valuable." So I'm like, okay, this is like the spark of the momentum. Let me just ride with it.
Nice.
So then I created another video just like teaching about, I don't know, just about principles and like mindset and everything.
But before you actually posted that second video, did you have any doubts in your mind of, oh, what people are going to think? Or did you have the mindset of, I'm going to be able to inspire people?
I guess not really. I didn't really have any doubt or anything, to be honest, because I kind of came to the realization at the end of the day, like there's gonna be like haters, people who don't agree with you, people who are gonna shit on you, but like you ain't winning if you don't have haters.
I love that.
So
That's huge.
like hate only comes from below. So like you're moving up if you're getting hate. Um, and I kind of accepted that already. So then it wasn't really difficult. Like I didn't really care. I just
It
posted
was
it.
easy for you, but for those who have value to share, but they are afraid of posting things because of that, the fear of judgment,
Yeah.
what kind of practices or what kind of things could they do to get rid of that mindset?
Yeah. So how do you get to the position where you don't care is well, first like understand that like the people everybody has an opinion. Everybody can say something and you can't please everyone.
That's so true.
Like everyone can say something about anything, no matter how perfect that you want to be. So like is there a way where you can actually have no haters? No, it's impossible. Right? So just accepting the fact that there's going to be people who don't agree with you. There's going to be people who are going to be shitting on you. But that's okay. Like what matters most is your opinion on yourself.
Yeah.
That's what matters most. And any of these people that's hating on you, like they don't pay your bills anyway. So like how meaningful is like what they say? It just depends on how much meaning you put into it. If you don't put meaning into it, into the haters, then like just post and who cares? Who
I
gives a
love it.
fuck?
And what have you got a plan or a goal for the YouTube channel?
I right now the plan is to grow it and just get it to a position where I can continue to keep growing and building my brand. I wanted to tap into the people that are outside of sales
Okay.
as well. Like that's why I focus primarily on mindset and principle videos.
So when you say tapping into the people that aren't in this environment, that aren't in the closing world, is it to show them how they can become a closer, or is it more how they can become more sure in themselves, no matter what industry they're in?
The latter.
Yeah.
How you can develop, because at the end of the day, all to be high performance, it requires the same principles, the strategies, more or less. And then you can apply that into like any other like domain, as long
Nice.
as you have that core confidence.
I mean, I've loved your mindset from day one. But now coming into the house, having all these mentors, the masterminds, being around your new brothers, I feel like your mindset's just gone from here to here. But what's been the biggest impact that's allowed you to level up?
Like
Has there been a what's the biggest takeaway? What's the biggest aha moment?
I had so many. Um, the biggest, so the first one I would say is being present. And we learned that from, well, I learned that from like day 3 of being here. But basically having Dan Lawson come in and asking me like what would make this the best month possible.
Yeah.
And I was like, to make 20K. And he was like, well, what would it mean to you to make 20K? I'm like, well, to be honest, I don't think it would mean anything. So what really is the goal? I'm like,
I saw the whole shift in your face when he
yeah,
asked you that.
yeah.
It's like, ah,
Yeah, that was a really big one to be present. Another one is also it's kind of one I had to remind myself, to be honest, and that's something I actually wanted to talk about here is abundant mindset. I had to remind myself of that because I was able to catch myself like being here, just being in a different environment, not being what I was so used to, accustomed to, and then also being here, new opportunities, like just spending a lot of money. I can feel like the brokey scarcity mindset, like, hey, you've been spending a lot of money this month, and I had to remind myself to continue to be abundant
yeah.
and think about the opportunities, the experiences I've been able to go through while being here, and not like submitting back to scarcity mindset was another big lesson.
How'd you remind yourself?
Just being aware, first of all. I can feel like the thoughts come in, like
So being more present
being more
as a
present.
start.
Yeah, 100%. Being more present is a start, but also being aware, like I was certain little things that like oh like how much does this cost, how much does this cost, I'm like, oh shit, I shouldn't even be asking that.
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
to walk, act and talk and believe as if I can fucking achieve anything, and I am fucking abundant.
I love that, brother.
Yeah.
I love that. And going back to the first day we got here, we had this men's circle. We started talking about things we don't normally talk about in front of our group of friends and family. How did that make you feel when it was your turn to share amongst people you don't know? Like, what was going through your head?
I was open to it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was open to it. I was very open to it. It wasn't something I was like, maybe because I'm so used to like already sharing online and
Nice.
like on YouTube and Facebook, and then like to other friends that you meet as well.
But what's the importance behind sharing? Because a lot of people probably listen to this now thinking, well, how can I get vulnerable and share things? Like, isn't that a bit weird? Like, why would I even do that?
Yeah,
Like, what would you say to those?
you never know who goes through the same problems as you, and you never know who can connect with you as well just by you being vulnerable. Like no, and it's interesting too because no one likes a perfect human. Right. So without sharing your vulnerabilities, the struggles that you've been through, people can't connect you with you on a deeper level.
So why do you think there's so many people online in this online world of closing? They don't show their true selves. They just try and show their best versions and not their worst versions.
Yeah. Because everybody gets shit on for anything that they do online, right? And I think that's why everyone becomes so scared to be able to show their true self. But like you have to get to a point where you take the good and the bad with you. You know, I might get shit on for doing this, or I might get praised on it, but who cares? Like what I was saying earlier, like at the end of the day, it's what you think about yourself is what matters the
It's
most.
a solid mindset, bro.
Yeah.
Solid mindset. I love
Like
that.
that's the most important thing.
No, I love
Right.
that.
And also going back to like sharing the good and the bad. I don't know if you noticed, but this is something that's very little, that's very nuanced. Like I posted a picture when we went wakeboarding. I purposely wanted to include some pictures where I was falling on the wakeboard because I didn't want to just show the
The
like,
good.
oh, the good, the cool part. I
That's cool.
showed the video where I actually fell because I wanted to be fully transparent. I wanted to show that I was learning how to fucking do this and I sucked in the beginning, but showing that full transparency, not that I was just riding the wave the whole time. Yeah.
That's so true. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. So now you've come into the house. You've got a new group of friends, of brothers. What do you feel like Kenny Kenny who's had this experience in the house, what's that Kenny gonna do when he goes back into his old environment? What's gonna change? What are you gonna change about the environment, if anything?
The biggest thing is I'm gonna take everything that I've learned here and go back and to share it with the people around me and help my get like my brother to the next level, the people around me. I had a lot of friends who've been following me, like high school friends, and they know that I've gotten into the space. They're asking me like, "Hey, I want to get into the space now," after seeing like some level of success. So just being able to share everything that I've learned, and then also um, any new habits too. I want to be able to go back and implement that as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
So would you think about possibly starting your own masterminds or speaking on stage more? Like, how are you going to reach the majority of your friends and inspire them to make a change?
100%. Well, that goes back to building my brand and continue to keep growing and inspiring and impacting more people. Later down the road, then I can decide whether if it's maybe, I don't know, having my own mastermind or doing some sort of like public speaking event. But right now, I'm in giving season. And what I mean by giving season is I want to continue to keep giving and giving and giving and giving. And right now it's like building a tower. Like you got to dig first to put the foundations together. So right now I'm like giving everything that I'm learning away, and then maybe I do a little ask, create my own thing later down the road.
Amazing, man. What I've loved about all you guys coming into the house is everyone's a leader in their own little way. And you just mentioned you're in the season of giving. What do you think the biggest value you've given to the guys?
That's a good question. I think that's for them to answer the most. But if I were to predict, I would say it would be to inspire them to get uncomfortable because I know I did inspire Evan and Q to get on stage to do because I remember I had a conversation with Q. He was like, "Oh, what I say? I need to script it out." I'm like, "You don't need to fucking plan anything. Just fucking get on the stage and just start talking." So I would say just taking immediate action
Nice.
is the biggest inspiration.
Let's go, bro. Let's go. Now you're in Colombia, Medellin. We've had so many crazy extreme activities. Is there one that stands out?
Yeah, I think my favorite one is definitely the fucking hike. That was my
That's
favorite.
most people's favorite.
Yeah, that was the hike. The hike, the Truman hike. That was
There you go.
that was my favorite for sure.
But
Um,
why though?
just because I was doing it for the first time. Um, the journey that we went through, like it was not a fucking easy hike. Like we were climbing the mountains of Colombia. It's not a freaking trail.
Yeah.
Like not flatland trail. Like we had to climb
First tourist ever to go down that trek as well.
that too. How beautiful the nature was.
Mm.
Someone's backyard was freaking like like
Paradise.
trees, and then they had a little river.
Mm.
Like that was crazy. And just because it was challenging as well, and then when we got to the top, it was really rewarding and fulfilling. And then just being able to get some realizations out of that, being able to do that with a group of people, it's like the most fulfilling things is when you do a bunch of hard things together with a group
Mm.
of people,
Yeah.
and then you're able to complete it. Like winning a championship, for example. Right? It's like it's the most rewarding feeling. That's why it was like the most rewarding.
Because we've also got you guys to go through some small little challenges, approaching people on the street, starting conversations. That's a big challenge.
Yeah.
Going up to a stranger and not knowing them and trying to start a conversation. What was your experience doing that?
Yeah, that was also interesting as well. It's actually funny because I did it before too when I was in Toronto. But I think this time I'm doing it around. It was like I wasn't as fearful as the first time
Mm.
for sure. Like making approaches more quickly rather than second guessing. But yeah, that was a good experience to challenge yourself as well and get out the comfort zone.
So for those who are probably watching this and they're thinking, I'm pretty confident when I'm sitting on Zoom,
Yeah.
but I want some more certainty myself. From all the exercises, activities, events that we've done, does any stand out that you could recommend people to do to get out of their comfort zone, whether it's networking, starting conversations, complimenting a stranger, or maybe some of the mentors that maybe something they said? Is there anything that stands out?
Yeah. Well, obviously, public speaking was a big one for
Mm.
me to get out of that comfort zone, and like public speaking it can be challenging for a lot of people. You think about what people are going to be thinking about you, like you don't want to fuck up. Like there's so many like fears that for you to overcome. Approaching people, doing cold approach, that's a good challenge as
Such
well.
a good challenge.
Yeah, and then networking as well. That was something that was a challenge for me.
Why though?
Because like networking, like I'm like, what am I gonna say? The fuck am I gonna say? Like I'm just gonna approach people. I'm like, what do I even talk about?
Mm.
How do I even carry the conversation? How do you even exit a conversation? It's like all these things I never really knew how to do because everything was done online,
Yeah,
right? So then that was a little bit of it. That was a challenge too, to learn and overcome. And I think that was yeah definitely something to get into the
yeah,
uncomfort zone to
for sure.
grow.
Now, we had our Nomadic Closers first ever mastermind. We had five amazing, amazing presentations, five amazing talks. I say that because I was one of them. But who's your favorite and why?
In terms of like the talks
Yeah,
of the five,
yeah. You can choose top two or
yeah,
or one.
I would pick top two tied for number one is Adam and Daniel.
Mm. Now, why? This is an interesting. Why Adam specifically? I know the reason, but I want to hear it.
Well, because Adam I've worked together with, so I have a bond with Adam.
Mm.
I Adam was definitely the best manager that I've worked with, for sure, like
Yeah,
hands down.
100%.
Um, and
But why? What? Like, there's so many managers or there's so many closers that try to become a manager. They think it's
yeah,
easy. They think the processes are just, I'm going to tell a bunch of closers what to do and then I'm going to make some money. It's
yeah,
a bit more than that.
100%. Like when I worked together with Adam, he was my manager. Onboarding was smooth and efficient. He made it felt like he was there for me as well. And he's also really fucking good in giving feedback, but also not doing it in a way where he's destroying you.
Beautiful.
It's constructive.
Mm.
So like that was really helpful. Very understanding, very empathetic. Not just like, hey, we got to make the business money. Like he was people over profits,
Nice.
and I felt that.
That's amazing.
And that's why. And Adam was talking about, taking the next step to be a sales manager. That was really interesting as me.
So let's talk about that. What does Kenny's life look like after closing?
Honestly don't know if I'm going to do sales managing. I don't know if that's what I want to do, but I know for sure I want to have my own business of some sort.
Yeah.
After doing closing for so long, acquiring sales skills, the ability to read people and negotiate, etc. Like I want to have my business of some sort and start building that next boat to wealth.
When?
That's the thing I need to
Are you not,
map out.
so you're not in a rush. You want to be a closer for a couple more years and
I don't even know a couple more years. I would say maybe at the max 1 or 2. But right now, it's like I'm focusing on it one at a time. But right now, the biggest thing I need to do is fucking stack up some cash. I can still leverage other people's money as well. That's another possibility. But um, it's like the main focus right now is I want to stack cash, build my brand, and then figure out, okay, what can I do outside of closing?
I love that. Bro, you've inspired me. Like some of the conversations we've had, the confidence that you have as well, the conversations I've seen you have with the guys as well, I think super inspiring. I really hope that you keep on posting all your experiences online, influencing a lot of people because you are changing people's lives. There may be people that watch a video and not comment.
Yeah.
Not everyone does comment.
Yeah.
But you could be, I know it may sound a bit cliche, but you could be saving lives as well.
Yeah, 100%.
There's so many closers or people in this world that suffer from depression. And we spoke about this with one of the other guys. Like, I lost a couple of friends due to men's mental health, and people are suffering in silence. We don't know who's suffering. So in order for us to kind of share value and just share the things that we're going through, being vulnerable, especially like you said, going wakeboarding. I posted some photos when I was up wakeboarding, but I also showed the failure.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. We need to be able to show people that failing is okay. They're not unique. They're not the only ones failing. Yeah. And being able to just show them that we're here to help. And this is what I did when I failed, and this is where I am now. And these are the in-betweens. So keep on pushing, bro. Keep on inspiring other people. And I'm just so excited to see where your journey is going. You've grown in such a short period of time. But what do you feel like has been, for people that have been thinking about joining a Nomadic Closer House or in the future, what would you say to those people that are on the fence? Because I asked you this before coming, right? But now you've actually experienced it.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people that really want to change their lives, but they're scared about traveling or experiencing things they've never experienced before? Yeah. Sell it for me, Kenny.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Just fucking do it. That's what I said. I know word for word. That's what I said when you asked that question. I said, just fucking do it.
That's what you said.
Because yeah, take the leap of faith. Because you'll never know if it's a good opportunity or a bad opportunity until you actually do the fucking thing, right? And then when you do it, and like the worst thing that you can do is just think about how you can grow, think about how you can have more friends, more connections, but not fucking doing anything. Like just mentally masturbating in your mind of where you can be rather than just fucking doing the thing.
I agree. And talking about sales, right? So 30 days, it's the final day. What's been the biggest lessons that you felt like you've learned from anyone in the house that you've now implemented in sales that have really helped you develop?
Like sales specifically?
Sales specifically.
I would say when we did the call review with Adam, raising people, like it kind of re-solidified this in my mind. Raising people's vibration frequencies during a sales call when like they're like beat down to the bush, and then like you want to raise their frequency, kind of being that champion archetype. Also, what you talked about in terms of archetype too, that was something that was helpful as well. Now I jump on calls and like, okay, what kind of archetype do I need to be? Do I need to be supportive, champion, or the challenger? Or that's something that's really helpful as well.
I love that, bro. I love that. Is there anything else you want to share? Any value before we call it a day?
Yeah. Just again, if anyone's watching this and thinking about doing this, just do the fucking thing. Just take action because that's what it takes in order for you to get to the next level. The last thing that you can do is just think about what you can do, but just fucking do the thing. And I promise you, you will not regret it.
I love that, Kenny. My man, thank you very much. Good luck with everything.